Hear his side of story, we joined on the line by former Prasa Board Chair, Popo Molefe. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome.
Good afternoon, Colin.
Yeah, Vusi says he's going to sue you. What's your reaction?
Well, remember, when you want to sue, you sue. You don't play a publicity stunt in the media. If he's got a case, let him go ahead. I will respond to that case. I can't respond to the intention to sue. Let him sue.
Okay,
and then we'll deal with it, yeah.
Yeah. He's suing the Sunday Times and the DA as well.
I don't even know what is the basis of him suing, but once he does it, we will see on the court papers, what is the basis of his litigation.
Okay, let's trace this back a little bit. What did you make out of the reports about him in the media in relation to the alleged Fourth Auditor General's report? And did you think, when he received an apology from the Sunday Times, that he was vindicated?
No, it has got nothing to do with the former board of Prasa. That is a matter between him and the Sunday Times. If the journalist wrote a story without establishing the facts relating to that story, it cannot then be ascribed to the former board of Prasa. It has got nothing to do with us.
From where you're sitting, do you think he deserves to be fired because he's contending that? And were you unhappy with the way he was dealing with corruption at Prasa, as he is mentioning?
Okay, well, let's deal with the issues quickly. He was appointed to act, seconded by the minister, and initially it was supposed to be for 6 months. And his conduct during that period was not one impressive to the directors, because they had from the beginning opposed the manner in which he was seconded, because the minister needed to follow a process where there would be negotiations with the board agrees, because if you second somebody, the receiving party needs to accept and enter into an agreement with you on that. I persuaded the board that we should allow Letsoalo to act on a secondment basis. And it was for 6 months. When 6 months ended, they said, no, let him go. The minister wanted this extended because when the board asked him to go, the basis was that the interviews had been conducted to appoint a permanent CEO for the company, which the minister, for her own reason, with the former president Zuma, resisted, probably because it was not going to be a CEO who would be pliable, who could be manipulated. They wanted a CEO who could do the things that other forces outside the board would have wanted done. So Letsoalo left Prasa because he was seconded and his term had ended. The board was not prepared to continue with him. And the minister sent a letter withdrawing him. It's the minister that withdrew him in the first place. It had nothing to do with the investigation, Collins. You as journalists, all of you, you need to do a bit of homework as well. Remember, before Letsoalo came to Prasa, the board of Prasa had already started investigations arising out of the report of the public protector, which we had received towards the end of 2015, which Lucky Montana had not disclosed to the board. And when we became aware of that report and other findings by the Auditor General, we decided that we were going to do a thorough investigation on the procurement of the locomotives from a company called Vosloo in Spain via a local company which was just a front called Sifambo, which in itself, by fronting for Vosloo, was breaking the laws of the country on fronting. So when Letsoalo came in, he had volumes and volumes of evidence that we had placed before him as a result of the investigations that we had already conducted. If he found new things, well, it is welcome, because then it means that he was building on the work that we had already started. And we would not have dismissed him for investigating corruption, because we were the leaders in confronting corruption. And
Mr. Molefe,
all of you know that even the minister tried to stop the investigations, and I refused publicly to do so. I even took the Hawks to court to explain to court why they were refusing to act on the results of our investigation.
Okay, Mr. Molefe, may I interrupt you for a minute?
I'm surprised that you guys have got such a short memory on this matter.
Okay, Mr. Molefe, I remember very well you were in the studio, in this chair where I'm sitting now. I remember very well on Question Time. So I just want to track a little bit backwards concerning, you were mentioning Lucky Montana now. So Mr. Letsoalo says that he had unearthed what he termed blame Lucky Montana and the previous board syndrome, which saw him quickly making enemies. So how would you describe his relationship with the board and yourself? Because at the beginning you seemed to be welcoming of him, but the way he left, perhaps one would say that from an outside-inside perspective, things were not rosy.
Yeah, well, many of the things he says are a figment of his imagination. The fact of the matter is that he was seconded. The board reached a point where it felt, and together with the minister, that his secondment must be ended. The minister withdrew him. The minister never told us that she had issues with us at the time. She never. She withdrew him, and we accepted, because there were issues about the minister herself not having complied adequately with the regulations of the Public Service Commission on the secondment of civil servants. The minister herself had written a letter that informed Letsoalo that the status of his position was not going to change, that he was not going to earn more than what he was earning, which is that 1.3 million that he was earning in the Department of Transport. Okay. But we as Prasa, had a policy on people acting in positions of secondment. And in respect of the position of the acting group CEO, we needed to add only 12% to the 1.3 million that he was receiving. And the letter of appointment I wrote to him was very clear that his appointment and remuneration would be in line with the policy of the company on secondment position.
So, Mr. Molefe, just a little bit on the relationship you had with him now as the board chair. He says the rules of natural justice, I'm quoting him, the rules of natural justice did not apply under Popo Molefe's leadership. So in your recollection, how was he?
No, Colin, I don't want to debate the kind of issues you are talking about, which are not factual, which are emotional issues raised by Letsoalo. If the rules of natural justice were not applying and he felt that he was unfairly treated, why did he wait for 2 years before he raises this issue? It boggles the mind why it comes now, even in December during the holidays, at the height of our campaign against corruption, and particularly the one led by me, even in Transnet. Why has he deemed it necessary to attack me at this particular point in time, when all other forces that have been steeped in corruption are pushing back on those who are fighting corruption in this country? Why does it come up now? I'm not going to debate the issue of relationship between me and Letsoalo. He was a simple employee. He had to account to the board. The board would have held him accountable on that basis. It would have been a professional relationship. It was not a love affair between the board and employees of Prasa.
All right. Mr. Molefe, thank you very much for making time to speak to us. All right. We're speaking there to